All right, hey folks, it's been a while, but finally, some other pressures have changed the direction a bit of the podcasting efforts I've been doing. And my apologies. It's been several months since I picked up on this podcast, but the goal, if I can start doing this again weekly, to keep you all updated and so forth. So this is going to be episode 12. Technically, I had to go back and search there. How selling airfare has changed over the decades. So, some news about that. There are a couple different things that happened over the past week or two that kind of led me to the topic here. So, one of them, someone posted somewhere on Facebook an airline ad for Delta Airlines. Now, I'm going to guess that this ad, you can see this in my upgrade offer. I'm going to guess this ad ran back in the 80s, roughly, but it's got a professional, Nancy Palmer, and they call her a reservationist, which I thought was a interesting title to give someone who answers the phone and books fares. She knows all about schedules, fares, ticketing, and routing. She can quote 175,000 fares, all guaranteed accurate. She knows the shortest route for where you're going. She knows the most convenient flight for your plans. She knows the lowest fare for your flight. When she makes your reservation, she doesn't just use her computer, she uses her head. So first of all, I love retro. Obviously, I love flying. But fast forward to 2024, even if you've dealt with, reservations agents, if you ever call United, you're not going to get an American. They've outsourced all that, but Delta does appear to keep their reservations folks US based. But someone like Nancy can barely keep up with the rapid fire medallion changes. I mean, you sometimes have to quote, book it. That's fun. Plus the endless calls from the latest weather, irregular operations. But she'll eventually get it done what you want if she's been there several years. So there's so many different types of calls and types of requests, and trying to get that into a person. I've always said that these reservation systems are some of the most complex IT systems out there. Not only, all the crazy, fares that don't make sense sometimes, being able to quote those to other systems, they resell seats to other airlines. If you've ever watched a standby list on a flight that's, leaving within the next day, it just changes, especially getting down to boarding so fast. It's just mind-boggling. And, the impact that when these systems go down, they are so heavily relied upon that it can cripple an airline, literally ground their planes. You've got that ad, and then also American Airlines. So American had embraced this idea called a new distribution capability, and or NDC fares. So I learned about this while I was still having my travel agent, connections there. But it took me back to a type of, it looks a lot like XML to me, but it's Edifact. So the reservation systems between all the airlines and how they all interconnect together, GDS is using something like Edifact, for flight tickets and availability requests. So a friend of mine tells me that at Delta, for example, Delta Term, which is a Frankenstein version of WorldSpan, I believe. I think we confirmed that. Still uses this and has to support it because, even though American Airlines has moved on and released NDC, or, the new distribution capability using things like APIs and XML and so forth, this does not happen overnight. And it also led to American firing I think their chief marketing officer. Apparently he was too aggressive, and there was a huge backlash from corporate travel agents and so forth. These mainstay airlines, a lot of their business comes from business travelers. and those folks, and the backlash there, it caused American to kind of do a reboot and reconsider what they were doing, not only with these technical changes but also the marketing changes. So listed, or you can go out to my great offer if you want to read into any more of these. Very interesting to me, and hope you like that there. Also checked in with a friend of mine who did a podcast several months ago. He is a newish, I can imagine that there's some turnover there, but he is a newish pilot on advanced air out in the West. So he was telling me about a route he was flying this week, and a couple of new airports actually to me. Merced, I think I had recently heard of from California, or kind of heard of, but there was HHR, which is near LAX in Los Angeles. So an interesting route that they have to fly these smaller, 8 passenger turboprops into those small little airports out west. So it's a really cool little airline. I do have some upgrade certificates that I need to burn this year. Maybe that will be part of like a tour of the West. We'll see if that works out, but do check them out. And I thought it was also really cool. They actually have their own in-flight magazine, which I thought, they're still publishing those, and they've got a lot of ads to make those happen there. But a reminder, as you are shopping, we don't really what Father's Day coming up. But, as you're out there shopping, dining, so forth, don't leave those miles on the table. One of the recent things, because I'll get to this in a second, but Alaska Airlines, they had a pretty nice bonus for 70,000 miles, and it should come with a companion certificate. There's lots of opportunities out there to use your cards if you're able to cover some of your travel there. So speaking of Palm Springs in June, so a new route for Alaska Airlines here to Atlanta. They have added a nonstop from Atlanta to San Diego. Industry that actually pointed this out, and flight was around $350 one way, Atlanta San Diego in first class. That's really, really good. I mean, we booked this a couple of weeks ago, if not a month ago, when they had that. But that is a new route for them that they're trying to pick up. So we're going to go out on Alaska, back on Southwest. So we'll go Palm Springs, Vegas, Atlanta. Actually a pretty decent flight time to get back, and so forth. So I did have, we're going to do one night that Wednesday night in Del Mar, California. That's a new destination to check off my list. I actually had a certificate from Best Western. They had a promo some time back that if you stay 2 nights at a Best Western, which I did on a business trip, you get a free night to any Best Western hotel. And there's a really unique retro property that's up in Del Mar. It's an ocean view room. And so we'll fly into San Diego, rent a car, which the cars are hard to come by. I have to hold on to this one reservation because I can't see a duplicate of it again. But we're going to go up to Del Mar for one night and then drive over to San Diego. From San Diego and Del Mar over to Palm Springs. The event that we're going to is at Margaritaville Resort, so be kind of a unique look at Palm Springs, and we'll see some friends, lots of pool time. It's going to be hot, but that dry heat. So looking forward to that. So then on to August, we have booked. If you've been following the episodes there, ended up booking on Air Canada. So the fare, I actually had a discount certificate with Air Canada when I took Mom up to Canada a couple of years ago, post-COVID, and there were some baggage snafus. And they issued a discount certificate that I was able to apply to this trip, and it ended up being a little more flexible. I actually had booked on British Airways, but then British Airways wanted to charge for seat assignments, even booking in premium economy. So I was like, no, we're not doing this. I've already paid you enough for the premium economy tickets. Why are you wanting even more to assign seats? So we're not doing that. Canceled that within 24 hours and went over to Air Canada, and mostly fine. There has been a schedule change, so we do have longer layovers than I'd like to, but probably get plenty of plane watching in, and will allow for a buffer if there are any delays or what have you, while we're connecting through Toronto and Montreal on Air Canada. We also use some American Express points to book. So technically that was booked on British Airways, so we don't have seat assignments, but it's just about an hour flight that goes from Edinburgh to Dublin, and had plenty of Amex points to cover that one way. But I did book it through British Airways because of the direct booking with Aer Lingus, who actually operates, and I think it's called Emerald Airlines. They actually limit your baggage even more. So it comes with like a standard 40 pound. They change it to kilograms, whatever that is. But if you, from everything I've understood about booking via an interline or what have you, British Airways sells that same ticket with a 50 pound baggage limit. And the person I'm traveling with is a bit heavy packer, so and we're going to have to pay for an extra bag anyway. So got that blocked in to do that jump across the, the English Channel from Edinburgh over to Dublin. We do have some hotels booked, just to at least save them, but I am leaning towards in Dublin an Airbnb I found, because we are going with another friend who's supposed to join us if he can get off work there. But we'll see what that turns out closer to time. I'll try to keep you guys updated. Okay, the cruise, we were looking at one for 2025. We did lock that in as well. And it is a group cruise that leaves February 2025 from New Orleans. So this is kind of leading up to Mardi Gras. I always say that you should have to have a passport to go to Louisiana, but it is leading up to Mardi Gras. We'll see, if we end up staying an extra day or two, because it is a 7-night cruise on Royal Caribbean. But a number of friends will be joining us for that. The invitation is out there too for you. I will say that Mr. Arno, that booked that cruise for us, does have a very nice group rate. You want to consider locking that in. It is a little cheaper than what the going rate is if you were to book directly outside of his group there. All right, so speaking of, I call him an acquaintance. He is like a tour guide, and he spends a lot of time up in Alberta, around Banff, Lake Louise. And I took, Mom up there for a number of years ago. But it is a really, really great place. If you don't ski, maybe go in the summer. It's a lot cooler up there. But in the winter, if you're a skier, you've got plenty of opportunities to go out and enjoy the wilderness. It's just wide open spaces and just beautiful, beautiful. Blue water, and all the lakes up there, just like you would see in the Caribbean. It's really taken well care of. So I would highly recommend. I mean, even from Atlanta now, WestJet does serve Atlanta direct to Calgary. They are a Delta partner, and a lot of really nice opportunities to get up there, and not too expensive, compared to some of the other places. And I think it's more pretty than Colorado. Now, it has been a while since I've been to Colorado, but I do just have that place in my travel bucket list to go back again, one day to Canada. Also a reminder for those that have an Amex card, they have their 40th anniversary out there. You've got some interesting deals you do not see often. Delta, I think if you buy, it's like $150, $180, you get like $40 back. You've got a JetBlue, I think you spend $200, get $50 back. So you've got some opportunities to save there if you're looking at paying cash or using one of those deals. And don't forget to go back and check those trips for savings. I do remember that Southwest trip that we had booked from Palm Springs back to Atlanta. There was a schedule change. I was able to back that up and get a little better flight time. And there was no change in miles that we used for that. So always an opportunity sometimes to save a little money. And speaking of the low-cost carriers, they have figured out that their model is not working for a lot of people. So, and I think there was also some pressure from some DOT changes recently, but Frontier and Spirit no longer have change in cancellation fees, which is a bit huge and actually less restrictive than these basic economy fares that the big carriers had released, some time back. So it is getting more and more friendly to the occasional traveler. To have these options now, instead of being hit with those huge change or cancellation fees. Let's see, so the upgrade fund is always out there. Like I said, that we're trying to do a little bit of a shift with this content. as always, pay your bills before you help pay mine. But, you can also support this by, I can help you out with the trip if you want. You got, opportunities to do that. And also welcoming feedback. So you've got my email address, robert@peachnews.co. That's robert@peachnews.co. And you're also welcome to comment right here on the video. I do try to watch those and address them if I can, within the thread or on another episode. So again, I'm going to try to get this out there at least weekly and get this back off the ground. But thanks for your support, and check in with you guys soon.